Hi, everyone. I want to have a short little video explaining what you're going to do for phase 9. So it's not very long. It's going to be a short little video, but it kind of just explains how to put everything together for your final paper. At this point, hopefully you have a lot of the pieces put together. I know I still owe phase 3s for a couple people. I'll grade those and get those back. But you should start merging everything together and start getting it in its final format. So what is it going to look like? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm just going to go real quickly through some of the steps that you need to go through for your final paper. So you're finally at the end, you're getting close. Okay. So what you need to do now is merge all of it together. So these are all the different phases that you've already completed. You may not have made a title page yet, so you may have to create that, but you've already done your abstract, you've already done your intro, your literary review. Your methodology is phase 4, and your procedures are phase 5, your survey, and then your results, and then all of your data analysis that you've already done, and then your conclusions and reflections. Then you should put together a proper APA reference page for the end, and then add your appendixes to the end. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second before I go to that, because I want to share with you what the final paper would ultimately look like. And I have posted this online, so you will be able to see this if you want to. So you can see I created like a sample title page, and then your abstract is next. And I even tell you, where it goes and what goes there. And then your table of contents, which I'll explain in 1 minute how to do. And then chapter 1 is your introduction. And then these are all the subsections from your introduction that you wrote. So you'll have all of those, okay? And then you go to the second part, your literary review, and then you'll literally cut and paste your literary review in here. And you'll move through and add all the different pieces. Here's your data analysis part. So you'll go through and do all of that, okay? So you'll literally merge it all together. And then and you can look through it, and then you'll add your appendixes at the end. Okay. And then you have to have your reference page too. Okay. So that is what it would look like. And that is online, and you can look at that if you want to see the format at all. Okay. So what I want to talk about real quick then is generating your table of contents. What I would highly suggest that you do is put the whole paper together first. Don't worry about your table of contents until the very, very end, and I'll show you why in a minute. So make sure for phase 9, you're just going together, cutting and pasting and merging everything together into your nice paper. Okay. And then you will want to generate your table of contents as the very, very last thing that you do, because it's going to go out and try to find what pages everything is on. You need to have page numbering on. Make sure you have your pages numbered in Word or whatever document you're using. And then you can generate a table of contents as the last thing. Now, I posted a web links on how to do it in Word. There's probably different ways if you're using Google. You may have to YouTube that to find that. But there are videos out there that show you step-by-step how to do it. So I'm just going to show you real quick how to do it, so you have an understanding of what you're looking at. But I would suggest that you actually watch the video too, okay? So I just showed you the sample paper. Where'd my sample paper go? So this was my sample paper that I just showed you, okay? So you wrote this whole paper. To generate your table of contents, you need to identify your headings, okay? So this is a heading, this is a heading, this is a heading. So you need to put those headings in there. What you need to do is you need to go to each heading, and you need to block it. And then you need to identify what it is. So this is a big heading. This is chapter 1. So it's going to be heading 1. Now I have this subsection underneath it. I'm going to mark that, and I'm going to make that heading 2. So you have to go through all of your paper, and anything that's a heading, you have to tell it, is it a 1 or is it a 2? Okay, so you go through and you create all of those, and you mark all of them for what they are. So that has to be the first step that you have to do. After you do that, you can you can go to references and then table of contents, and then you can generate a table of contents. So you tell it which format you want it to use, and then you generate it, okay? So that's why you want to be done with your whole paper, because it's going to go out and search where the pages are, and it's going to put it all together for you. If you change something after you've created the table of contents, you'll probably have to delete it and start all over and recreate it. You won't have to relabel the headings, they're still in there, but you'll have to regenerate the table of contents so it locates the proper page that it's on. So that's why I recommend that you do it at the very end. And again, I have that video that can help. If you need to find the video, it can definitely help you for showing you how to do it if you didn't catch what I just showed you. Don't forget to add the appendixes at the end. Remember, appendixes are things that you want to attach, documents that support your paper. So you basically just write your whole paper, and at the end you write Appendix A, and then you put in what's Appendix A, and then Appendix B, and you put in what's Appendix B. So you'll do that. And then within the paper, when you refer to that, like if you say, I created a survey, see Appendix A for survey. And then they would know to flip to the end and look at your survey. So again, my sample has those in there, and you can see how I added the appendix. What are some things you might want to add as your appendix? Your glossary that you put in your intro, you could cut and paste it and make it an appendix. Your survey, the not completed one, the one you typed up to submit to me. Your raw data table that you created, individual data tables, and any other documents that you think support your paper. So you can kind of pick and choose what you want to attach as your appendix at the end, but these are some exact examples. Finally, do not forget your reference page. This is super important. You've written this big, huge paper. You need to give credit to where you've gotten your research. So you've done a lot of this already in your literary review, and some of you already put it in your base 3, which is fine. Make sure that you formalize it. Make sure you double check APA format. You might want to contact a librarian and have them go over it with you to make sure it's in proper APA format. They'll definitely do that and work with you on it. And then you're going to make that at the end of your paper. Okay. If you go to the tutoring center, they can also help you with this. So those are some resources you can use to make sure you can do a proper APA reference page. Please do not blow this off. This is your final showing that you know this. You should know this after the different criminal justice classes you took. This is a requirement. You must have a reference page, or it's considered plagiarized. You took information from somebody and you didn't give them credit. Now, what am I looking for when I grade? I obviously want all the sections, so I want to make sure it's complete. So I just have a checklist and I go through, did you include all of the sections that you're supposed to? Did you demonstrate that you learned things? So when I'm reading like your reflections and your conclusions, I'm just looking at, what did you learn? What did you take from this? What, did you go through the process? Did you learn something about the process? And then I'm looking for neatness, correctness, and organization and appearance, right? So half the job of a paper is making it look nice and making it be formatted properly. So I look at all of that. So demonstrate learning, you took your hypothesis and then you did your analysis. What did you learn specifically about that hypothesis? Did the research support your hypothesis? Didn't it support your hypothesis? I'm also looking at, did you learn the proper research method? So all the different steps, did you learn how to do each of those steps? And what about the analytical skills that you learned about interpreting data and creating charts and graphs? So those are some of the things I'm looking for demonstrated learning. Neatness, correctness, and appearance obviously has to be typed. You have to have spelling and grammar. If you have spelling and grammar issues, I'm probably going to turn it around and give it back and say redo. At this phase, this is a formal written paper. There's no exception for spelling and grammar. Now, if you have a typo in there, a couple of typos, that's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes I get papers that have the sentences don't make sense. The grammar's not good. The spelling is just, you didn't even try to spell check. I'm just going to send that back. You cannot turn in a paper that has huge numbers of spelling and grammar. Again, I highly recommend you go to the Learning Center because they will help you proofread and make sure you catch any of those mistakes. Did you use the proper format? So I showed you the format. Make sure you use that proper format and use headings and things like that. And is it organized? Does it follow in a proper way that I understand? If you use the format, you'll have organization. Also in the phases, you talk about what you will do. Now you have to say what you have done. So in your abstract, you might have said, oh, I will be collecting data, or anything where you say, I will be doing this. You need to say when I did it. So like, especially like phase 4 and say phase 5, you said stuff like, I will be surveying these people. You can change that. You'll say, I did survey these people. Okay, so just make sure that you read your text and make sure your tenses, and make sure you're following the tenses properly. So give it a good preview. And then finally, just make sure that it's original work. Since you've done so many different phases, I don't really have problems with this, but it cannot be obviously a paper that's plagiarized. I send all the papers through a plagiarism check. It compares them to all papers written within the school and in a universal database on the internet. So if you steal somebody's paper and try to turn it in, you will get a 0. That is plagiarism, and I will not take the paper. And if you get a 0 on this paper, you're most likely not going to pass this class because it counts for half of the grade for the class. Okay, so make sure it's your own work. Make sure you put your own effort into it, and make sure you're demonstrating effort. Again, if you have tons of spelling and grammar errors, you're not really putting in a lot of effort. And so that's going to affect your grade. So that's all I have. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the project and how you start to merge it together. Just like always, if you have any questions, please reach out. I'll be more than happy to Zoom with you and go over anything. And you're just going to work through your paper. Once the paper is done, then the last thing you have to do is put together your oral presentation. You already have everything done, so it should go very quick. So good luck with everything. Let me know if you need any help. I'll see you soon.